Welcome to our viewers. Thank you so much for joining us for our MythBusters Series webinar, Object Storage and Flash Media, Good Fit or Mismatch. Joining us today, we have Sanjay Yagad, Senior Director of Products and Solutions here at Cloudian. Welcome, Sanjay. And with that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Sanjay.
Thank you, Audrey. And by the way, morning, afternoon, evening, depending on wherever you are. Welcome to the MythBusters series of the Cloudian webinars. This is an exciting way to get information as well as talk about some of the most relevant topics in the industry and see whether the common perceptions are actually true or whether they need to change, right? What better topic for today's session than talk about flash and object storage, right? This is an exciting topic because we are in the midst of a lot of buzz around object storage, where more and more workloads are getting deployed on object storage. The amount of data that is growing is in an unprecedented way, and object storage has becoming the de facto platform for storage of all this unstructured data. The question about flash is something that has become a very hot topic recently. So what we decided to do was just look at this and see whether flash and object storage are a good fit or a mismatch. Right, so let's start digging into it, right? And the best way to start is just quickly start looking at some of the basic groundbreaking facts that we all agree on, right? And let's start with flash media itself. What we know is true is that the flash media, there's tremendous advancements in the technology, right? You're seeing newer and newer media types being created and being brought to market. It started off about a few years ago, like about 7 years, where flash media started becoming more and more used on the storage side of it. But in the last few years, we have seen evolution like, the 3D crosspoint. We are seeing the evolution of NVMe. We are seeing Intel talk about their EDSFF, which is basically an ultra-dense ruler-like SSD media. And we are seeing the newer NAND technologies like QLC that allows you to bring higher density. And we are talking about the 6 or even 128 terabytes and lower cost, right? We have seen the advancements of flash from in its initial days where we talked about single-layer cells to now we are talking about QLC. So flash has evolved in front of our eyes, and there's no debating that. And when we talk about evolution, we talk about how the densities are evolving, the technology is evolving, and so is the cost dropping significantly, right? And the cost of flash media is dropping at a very steady rate. But it's still higher than the spinning drives because the spinning drives are also evolving and getting more denser and denser. So unlike the perception that people talked about, where you will have flash media and spinning drives be crossing over, that might be true for high-performance SAS drives, but the high-density capacity drives are still significantly cheaper. Right? We know that flash is being used in primary storage for high performance, right? Every vendor that you talk about and see out there has a flash offering. Flash has become a ubiquitous when it comes to storage and performance. And modern application nowadays expect some of this performance and consistent high performance, be it throughput, latency, concurrent access, and so on and so forth. So this facts cannot be debated. This is happening out right in front of us. What is also happening is the impact of flash on the storage. Like, we know that flash brings in the functionality, like think about it like a storage layer between your memory and your spinning drives, where you're talking about, depending on which side you look from, you're talking about a low-cost memory or a high-performance storage, right? It gives you that persistent memory-like storage, right? It is probably 1,000 times faster than the disk. It has lower power consumption, lower noise, It's reliable. There's no moving parts. It gives you parallel access. You don't have to worry about spindles and the data layout. It's much more streamlined when it comes to all the positives that Flash brings to the storage system. On some of the negative side of it, obviously the cost is high, and unlike spinning media, we know that Flash degrades as you write to it, right? If you look at how this media has evolved, it's just a matter of flipping a bit by passing some electric current. And as the media is getting denser, like the QLC type, where now if you have a certain tolerance where you cannot write on a given cell for more than a certain times until it starts degrading. And relatively, there is, from a read perspective, the writes are relatively slightly slower. And what happens is when Flash fills up, this whole garbage collection and all those things come in. So there's some challenges where you have to deal with all those aspects when you're dealing with Flash. So it does have an impact on the storage system and how the storage systems are being using Flash. So just to take that information and the basic facts, we also know some other facts about Flash is, like I said, Flash is completely transforming the speed of business. There is no doubt in the value that Flash media brings to the business, right? It brings in the real time so that you can now have an expectation, right? Not an aspiration, but you can now really get some of the advanced things in terms of, like, you will now see most of the primary storage talk about inline dedupe, which they would not be able to do previously, because it brings in that real-time performance and capabilities. And this just means that Flash is also changing the way storage systems are built and designed, right? It's once you have the underlying media and the technology change, it is obvious that the software layers that manages that storage needs to evolve too, right? So that it can benefit from the advancement. It can benefit and transform that benefits into the application layer. And that means that Flash is also changing the way applications are being built and designed, right? Once you know that you can get this, you don't need to have applications that are doing context switching and waiting for the results to come in from the storage, right? It's more real time. It's more concurrent accesses. It's more distributed accesses. And like I said, Flash is now becoming ubiquitous when it comes to storage offering, and that is no different for an object storage solution, right? You have all the pieces from a technology perspective that will allow you to maximize the value of your storage, and that's basically what we're talking about. How has Flash media impacted the storage subsystems, and what value does it bring to the table? So when you talk about Flash, the other thing that often comes down to is performance, right? And this is a very sensitive area. And if you have been in the industry like I've been around for 20 plus years. And when we first started seeing Flash, we saw a lot of technology that basically talked about raw performance, right? Hey, I can get you millions of IOPS, ultra low latencies, and all those things. But, is that the right way to evaluate performance, right? Yes, you can get the raw performance if you are just trying to do in and out of the media. And you have storage subsystems that sometimes they are designed to do that. But, that's not how enterprise storage systems behave. What they want is they want the performance, they want the reliability, they want the availability, they want the scale, they want the data management. That's what storage systems are, right? We are not talking about raw performance. So when you start looking at Flash and performance, you have to be very careful in how you evaluate this performance. History has proven in this industry there are many solutions that try to just do raw performance and expected the middleware and the other layers to take care of it. But, that complicates the story and the solution, and that makes it very difficult for storage systems or the enterprise IT people to manage all these different components. What they want and what enterprise is looking for is, yes, I want the value of flash. I want the performance of flash, but I also want other things that are more important. So when you are evaluating performance, make sure that you are looking at this and not just looking at one simple raw number of in and out, right? So that is very, very important when you talk about flash performance to how to look at it. The other aspect when you're talking about flash to look at it is how to truly evaluate the value of flash, right? We know that flash brings in the savings from power cooling because of the way it consumes power, right? And the density nowadays will give you the rack space savings because you will use less storage to deliver less rack space to deliver same performance, or maybe less rack space to deliver same density if you're talking about high density flash storage media. And because there are no moving pieces, you're talking about significantly saving on some of the maintenance aspect of it, right? Flash media is very predictable. You know when the media is going to go bad. There are matrices that you can pull and see, oh, I'm reaching my end of life of this flash media and I need to start looking at replacing. Unlike in the spinning drive world where things just fall apart anytime, right? It could be. So the maintenance aspect of it is also very important when you're looking at flash and how it brings, what is the overall value, because it may be expensive from dollar per gigabyte, but if you look at the overall TCO savings, it brings in significant value. It brings in simplicity in terms of administration. It brings in predictability in terms of administration. So when you look at flash media, just don't look at the old matrix of dollar per gigabyte, but also start looking at how it brings value to your IT and what is the overall cost of ownership. Right? This is what we need to look at when you talk about flash, and this is what we at Cloudian are focused on. We recently talked about introducing an HyperStore all-flash Cloudian appliance, and that HyperStore all-flash object storage solution basically has three biggest components to it. One is we have a flash-optimized software stack with a fully integrated appliance. We are delivering 3x better price per performance, and that is what I meant by dollar per gigabyte per second versus any competitive flash object storage solutions. And what I mean by that is, again, it's not just the raw speed, right? On the raw speed, you are going to get or greater than 2 gigabytes per second per node, right? But what does that mean, right? Do we work from a technology perspective? Does it have a flash optimized? Does it have this adaptive flash hybrid architecture that can further improve your TCO savings? And is that platform ready with the latest technology in Optane NVMe so that it can deliver this value through the software layer back into the application? And this is why Cloudian HyperStore flash solutions are very unique and what value we bring. And we'll go into a little bit more details about this. What we need to also look at is, while flash is very important, enterprises IT have a varied amount of workloads, right? And that means that they want flexibility in their deployments, right? With HyperStore flash and the Cloudian HyperStore architecture, which Cloudian, by the way, is a scale-out distributed object storage solution with enterprise-grade features. What we now give customers is an option where you can deploy this in different ways, where you can create a cluster which includes flash nodes as well as dense capacity nodes, where you can have different ways of creating buckets so that you can pin some of those buckets in the flash node if you want performance, and then be able to deliver the consistency around read and write performance. But you also have the full enterprise capabilities around secure multi-tenancy, QoS. You have granular bucket level data protection. You have the security options around worm, FIPS, common criteria, and all the RBAC and IAM integration. So you can meet the application performance and capacity requirements in a single cluster. You are not forced to manage different clusters and different flash nodes separately and the spinning nodes and capacity nodes separately. It's all part as a universal platform which has a private cloud-like offering, right, inside your data center. And the way to make that happen is through adaptive flash technology, where you're bringing in extra cost savings, right? Industry has proven, right, that when we talk about performance, applications are not always going to have that data as hot data, right? Data eventually becomes cold, and keeping that cold data on flash is not the most sensitive thing to do. You want to be able to take that hot data, move it to the cold data if it's not being accessed. And we know that from various analysis and stats that have been done across the industry by different pundits that, on an average, about 40 to 60% of this data is always cold, right? So when applications are writing, you want the ability to use the flash bucket for performance, but when that data becomes cold, tier that data dynamically into the capacity bucket through policy so that you can maximize the capacity and the space and use those storage systems to basically hold that data and let the flash storage be there for performance data and then bring it back if that data becomes hot again. This overall adaptive architecture brings in extra savings from a TCO perspective, right? We know that the spinning drives and the capacity storage is on an average about 66% cheaper when it comes to dollar per gigabyte. And if you look at it, about 60% of the data is cold. So you're looking at least additional 40% overall savings. In this economy today, savings is the most important thing on top of the mind for a lot of this IT administrators out there. So what are we doing to make their life easy by giving them a simple platform that brings in the performance but also brings in the value, right? And if you're talking about adaptive flash technology, some of the key features are, like I said, you need to be able to transparently migrate via policies data from hot to cold, cold to hot, right? These are user-defined policies where you set up rules based on ownership and size of the object at the time, and then be able to move that data around. All this data, even though you're moving this data between the different tiers, it's still represented as a single cluster, meaning all that data is still part of the same endpoint and namespace. It's still searchable. It's still available to the application. Application doesn't know the difference, right? And thus they are not being forced to change how they access this data when they want it. There has to be a transparent rehydration of this data when application needs it back into the flash storage. So this is a significant piece. You'll see a lot of people talk about, yeah, we can do flash. What about this hybrid architecture? Hybrid architecture has already proven, if you look at all the primary storage enterprises, a lot of these people do this today. Even the cloud providers do this. They have a way to manage these different tiers of performance and seamlessly move data around so that you can get your service level objectives. This is what is required when you're talking about building a private cloud with object storage platforms like Cloudian, HyperStore, and be able to now bring in the flash media and the flash technology to deliver performance. When we talk about flash optimized software for leveraging the flash media, it's very obvious, right? You want to basically take advantage of the flash media that allows you to do reduce the latency for your I/O profiles, right? So you can now take care of things where your I/O stack is more optimized. You don't have to wait for the spinning drives and the layout and worry about the layout on the spindles and all those things. So you're simplified your I/O stack But when you talk about object storage, you have this large objects that have been written down, and sometimes you need subset of that data to be accessed for various use cases, be it analytics. So how can I do partial reads on those objects on a low latency data access so that I can further improve the performance? Right? How can I leverage some of the leading technologies out there like NVMe so that my systems are optimized with all the different NVMe bars and parallelism so that I can get the most out of that media? And obviously leverage technologies like Intel Optane that allows us to now take advantage of the advancement in this technology to create persistent memory, right? You want your platforms to be ready to take advantage of newer flash media technologies so that you're not looking to refresh this if you want to take advantage of this. Right, so you need those platforms that are Optane ready, that are NVMe ready, and can deploy this across different vendors. Right, Cloudian is a software-defined solution, and it is best when you leverage the best of the hardware platforms from different vendors to get more value. Right, Cloudian works across different platform vendors like HP, Lenovo, Dell, QCT, Supermicro, Cisco. We have certified our solution across all these platforms so that we can deliver value to our customers. And talking about value and use cases, I've been talking to a lot of our customers over the last few years, and whenever, as part of the product management team, when we talk to customers and we talk to them about our roadmap, the few things that come up when it comes to use cases, right? Customers, especially enterprise customers, are definitely interested in leveraging Flash for object storage for various reasons. One is they are trying to build a data lake on an object storage platform like Cloudian. And once you do that, what you're trying to say is, okay, now if I'm building this data lake and if I want to run some analytics and if I need some performance, can I leverage Flash media so that I can store that data on a Flash tier and be able to run and meet some of the modern analytics workloads requirements, or even run some kind of AI machine learning services so that I can quickly analyze this data, use the performance to traverse through this hundreds of terabytes or even petabytes of data and be able to find meaningful information quickly. The other thing that has become very obvious is as their application workflows are evolving, enterprises are looking for creating tiers within their backup and restore environments where they want their dailies or weeklies to be on a Flash tier so that they can do rapid recoveries and then eventually move that to copies of backup for long-term retention into a capacity tier, right? So this improves their RTOs and RPOs and be able to deliver better DR or tolerance against some of the failures by restoring quickly from a Flash tier, maybe at least 2x, 3x faster than they would have. So if their backup windows are shrinking, they are wanting to make sure that they use the Flash to meet their requirements around their data protection needs, and then be able to use this adaptive technology to get further TCOs. We also seeing a lot of requests where there are modern applications like life sciences, or talk about custom build applications that don't speak S3 APIs, but they want to leverage our Cloudian HyperFile for fast file access. So we have an ability to deliver now high performance file access to some of those applications, like be it life sciences, geoseismic, or to be able to write and read large files into the Flash tier so that they can meet their requirements and be able to quickly access those files, whether they are using it for whatever reasons. We also, with our latest announcements around Kubernetes, where you now have the ability to use Cloudian's S3 operator within your Kubernetes to quickly allow developers to provision buckets on Cloudian, whether it's flash tier or capacity tier, define policies so that you can now have your cloud native applications be able to leverage Flash for some of their application development as well as some of their modern Kubernetes-based applications, cloud native applications that require that performance. So what this is just bringing the true value of Flash and combining that with some of the enterprise features that we have to deliver benefits to our customers, right? You are looking to now, like I said, consolidate and eliminate resource silos so that you can increase your flexibility into a truly software-defined private cloud solution like Cloudian HyperStore. You're optimizing your storage economics by bringing in the adaptive technology, the hybrid technology, so that you can get more value from performance as well as cost savings. By using a single platform, you are simplifying your operations. You're not maintaining or managing multiple silos. You are able to meet some of your SLAs with confidence, right? You knowing that, by pinning the data on the flash tiers and be able to deliver that consistent performance, you're going to be able to meet some of those requirements that your application have. And also to meet the needs of your business much faster, right? Flash, like we said earlier, brings in predictable performance and value. There is no doubt that Flash media has changed. There is no reason why it cannot be used for object storage solutions, and these are the benefits that you can do if you use it with the right object storage solution, right? Why Cloudian? It's very simple. We are the single largest independent object storage solution out there in the market. We have Cloudian is a cloud-native architecture with native implementation of S3 APIs. So it's an API-based access system where you can build your private cloud. You have the flexible deployments. You can deploy this as pre-certified appliances. You can deploy it as a true software-defined on any third-party hardware, whether it's physical servers, virtual servers, private cloud, public cloud, or you can deploy it as containers or within the container ecosystem, right? It is a modular design where you have the ability to scale out and each and every node runs the exact same software. So you are making sure that when you add and scale, you're scaling linearly from a functionality perspective. It's truly geo-distributed, multi-tenant solution with QoS, enterprise data management, security, with cloud integration where you can now tier or integrate into any of the public cloud and make sure that, when that happens, you are tiering that data in the cloud's native format so there is no lock-ins. You can even deploy Cloudian in the public cloud and be able to stretch that cluster on-prem or into the hybrid cloud, multi-cloud story. So it gives you complete flexibility. And now with Flash, it gives you the predictable performance within the same platform, right? When you talk about object storage solution, just like any other storage solutions, when you look at where the enterprises are going, gone are the days where you are looking for just a small little niche solution, right? Enterprises always want enterprise-grade solution which has the features and the functionalities, right? Be it through APIs, be it whether it's their architecture, whether it's a truly scale-out architecture, whether we're talking about data management, whether we're talking about data protection. We did a MythBuster webinar series of whether all object storage are similar, and I strongly encourage that you go look at that and see what makes an object storage different. What are the things you should be looking for object storage within an object storage solution? HyperStore is a complete enterprise-grade object storage solution, and there are many, many proven data points to showcase. So please go, if you haven't looked at that, I encourage you to go visit Cloudian's website and look at our MythBuster series and look at what makes object storage different. Talking about HyperStore appliances, like I said, We have various different appliance offerings, like from 1U nodes to 4U dense nodes to 4U extreme density, and now with flash nodes, you can mix and match all of these nodes into a single cluster. You have flexibility in how you configure those nodes and create logical separations with data centers, regions, and set it up so that you can deploy this across multiple sites, across cloud, and be able to meet your various requirements around applications and your SLAs. Right? What Cloudian brings to the enterprises is a complete private cloud platform that offers lower TCO so that you can improve your storage efficiency and reduce or eliminate silos where your IT team can use their existing skills to standardize their deployments. It allows you to increase your velocity by enabling developer self-service through our Kubernetes operator to provision some of these services and to efficiently deploy modern stateful services if they need to on a single reliable global scale platform. Right? This is what our customers are talking about. Cloudian today is the most highly rated object storage solution on Gartner's Peer Insight. This is not Gartner talking, this is customers giving their ratings, and we were the Gartner Peer Insights Customer Choice Award winner for 2020. It's the highest rating, most number of reviews, highest number of recommendation across all the different storage vendors out there on Gartner's Peer Insight. And when we talk about the original point of today's MythBusters seminar, whether flash and object storage is a good fit, the answer is very simple. Yes, it is a good fit because flash allows you to deliver predictable, consistent performance. It allows us to leverage some of the advancements like QLC, NAND, NVMe, so that we can deliver higher density per rack unit, in some cases even higher than HDD. Right? We can use the NVMe platforms to lower the cost while delivering higher performance. Like we said, Cloudian HyperStore delivers at least 3x better price per performance than leading competitive solution. It improves durability, right? Flash failures are predictable, like I said, and it can simplify your operations, and it enables use cases such as analytics, IoT, media editing, fast file accesses. This means that now you have a private cloud solutions that is like HyperStore object storage solution that allows you to run multiple workloads, eliminating silos on a single platform, right? You're building private cloud solution. You're bringing those cloud technologies in your data center. Let your Cloudian platform be that platform to bring in those cloud-like functionalities, right? It's a great fit. It's the way storage systems have evolved over a period of time, and there is no reason why flash cannot be used with object storage. And in order for that to happen, you have to look at it in the ways that technology is used. Hybrid adaptive technology brings in the value. Flash brings in the performance. The architecture brings in the flexibility in deployments, and overall, it's a win-win for our customers as well as for us. So with that, I think we have proven or busted that myth that flash and object storage are a good fit, and we will continue to do this kind of things as a part of our MythBusters webinar series. If you have any suggestions or ideas that you want us to look at from a MythBusters series perspective, do send us a note. If you have any questions about what I just talked about, please feel free to either write in and your questions in the tab below, and we'll try and get back to you. If we can't answer that, we will definitely follow up, but I highly encourage to look at some of the attachments and the assets that we have out there as part of this webinar, and reach out to the respective Cloudian teams if you have any questions. Thank you very much for being there, and we'll look at questions. Audrey, back to you.
Thanks so much, Sanjay. That presentation was very informative. Really appreciate that. We do have some time for questions. Anyone that hasn't already submitted one, go ahead and enter those into the tab at the bottom of your screen. I also just want to point out one more time, Sanjay just mentioned this, don't forget there's content in the attachments tab also located at the bottom of the screen. With that, we'll get started with our questions. All right, so our first question today, do I need to buy Cloudian all-flash appliance?
The answer is no, right? Like I said earlier, Cloudian is a software-defined storage solution. We have a lot of our customers that have deployed Cloudian's flash-optimized software on industry-standard flash boxes from different vendors. A lot of our customers like to have an integrated appliance so that they can get a fully tuned system with our software, single point of service and support. So we do offer a HyperStore all-flash appliance, but no, you're not required to. We give you the flexibility in how you want to buy the solution from Cloudian.
Great, Sanjay. Thank you for that. We'll move into our next question. Can I use Cloudian all-flash HyperStore for running my databases?
So depending on what databases, right? Database is a very tricky thing. If you're talking about a traditional RDBMS, like an OLTP database like Oracle or SQL, which basically has a read modify kind of an access, right? You're talking about, then the answer is the object storage solution is not the best fit for that. But if you're talking about modern databases like MongoDB, Cassandra, NoSQL, then the answer is yes. You can definitely run those things because that's what is suited for an object storage solution, right? Keep in mind, object storage is not your NAS and SAN. So you're not going to get that sub-millisecond latencies for small blocks, which are typically what Oracle or SQL like 8K, 16K, 32K. When you're talking about those kind of applications, that's not what object storage is. And that's why you have those primary storage who are optimized for those kind of access. But with modern cloud-native workflows and modern cloud-native services and those stateful services like Cassandra and others, this is a perfect platform for that. So it depends what your application is and what you are going to use it for. You have to understand that object storage is great for a lot of use cases, but they are not suited for some of those small block databases.
Thank you, Sanjay. Moving into our next question. What flash media are you using in your appliance?
So we use, like I said, right, we are certified with different kind of media types. What our own all-flash appliance today uses is we have certified with our NVMe media drives because we have selected an NVMe platform that has optimized I/O bus so that we can get more concurrency and more parallelism with different between the drives and the backplane into the flash media, into the CPU cores. But that is just what we have decided because it brings us the best price performance value. But you can use any other. We are in the process of also working with Intel and other technology providers to qualify higher density like an EDSFF solution or QLC platforms so that you can get ultra density from a flash media.
Great, Sanjay. I think we just have one last question here that I see. Unless anyone else has any to add, go ahead and enter those now. Last question for today. How do you maintain capacity if flash degrades so quickly?
This is not that difficult, right? That is the secret, right? Flash degrades if you write to the same bit again and again and again, right? That's what something we call drive writes per day, right? Every flash media has that rating. When you talk about medias which are like 8 terabyte, 16 terabyte drives, And if you are spreading that data across different pages within the flash media, you're not writing to the same cell. Also, with flash and object storage, you're not overwriting that particular file, right? You know, the way flash and some of the modern storage solutions that work with flash is it's always a log structured kind of a mechanism where you are now adding and writing and appending data, so you're not overwriting the flash media and thus distributing those right across the different media capacity, so that on a daily basis you are still within the drive writes per day range. And then there is obviously optimizations in trying to figure out how are you using this flash media and so on and so forth. Those are the secret sauces.
Great, Sanjay. Thank you so much for that. Looks like one more question just popped in. Does Cloudian integrate natively with analytics workloads or need a gateway?
Yes. So Cloudian supports, let's say in this case, I think it says HDFS, right? We have some data sets and blogs and solution sheets available on our website. But the way Cloudian works is we support S3A, which is basically a native API that is used by HDFS to leverage storage underneath it. So we have done some work with localization of data, and through S3A support, you don't have to have HDFS API support. We can use S3A to work with HDFS file systems and be able to support some of those analytics workloads, be it Presto, Hive. We are certified with Cloudera. We are certified with Hortonworks, which is now Cloudera. But yes, the short answer is we use the S3A APIs to be able to integrate with the HDFS workloads and analytics workloads.
Thank you, Sanjay. I think that was our last question. So, yep, that concludes questions for today. I want to send a huge thank you, Sanjay, for that informative presentation.